This is not a drill. Meghan Markle is now in full preparation for her divorce from Prince Harry. I've got the inside story.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a private controversy suddenly collides with the full weight of royal authority? According to supporters of a rapidly growing narrative, that question exploded into public view after reports began circulating about an alleged leaked dossier connected to Meghan Markle's past, triggering a wave of speculation that quickly spread across social media, news programs, and royal commentary channels around the world. What began as a rumor discussed in isolated online communities soon evolved into something much larger, drawing the attention of palace observers, media personalities, and royal supporters who believe the situation could become one of the most dramatic public disputes involving the Sussexes in recent years. At the center of the controversy stood two very different figures. On one side was Meghan Markle, a woman whose every public move continues to generate global headlines. On the other was Princess Anne, often described by commentators as one of the most disciplined, respected, and institutionally loyal members of the royal family. According to supporters of the narrative, a collision between those two worlds appeared increasingly unavoidable. According to the story, the controversy allegedly gained momentum after claims emerged regarding legal disputes and public criticism surrounding Meghan's lifestyle and business activities. Reports circulated suggesting that a court had rejected certain claims connected to an alleged legal action, leading critics to intensify scrutiny of the Duchess of Sussex. Whether those reports accurately reflected the underlying legal situation remains heavily disputed. However, supporters of the narrative argue that the public reaction became almost as important as the controversy itself. Social media platforms were flooded with commentary. News outlets debated the implications. And once again, the Sussexes found themselves at the center of an international conversation that showed no signs of slowing down. According to many royal commentators, what made the situation particularly significant was the way it allegedly began drawing the monarchy into the discussion. Questions emerged regarding whether the royal family would respond. Questions emerged regarding whether palace officials would distance themselves from the controversy. And questions emerged regarding whether senior royals believed the situation posed a reputational risk to the institution itself. Supporters of the narrative claim that these concerns quickly reached influential figures inside royal circles. Among those figures, none attracted more attention than Princess Anne. For decades, Anne has built a reputation based on discipline, duty, and an unwavering commitment to royal service. Unlike many members of the modern royal family, she is often viewed as someone who places institutional stability above personal publicity. As a result, observers immediately became interested in how she might react. According to supporters of the narrative, and allegedly concluded that allowing confusion and speculation to continue unchecked could damage public perceptions of the monarchy. Reports began circulating that she favored a strategy focused on separating royal institutions from controversies connected to former working royals. Whether such discussions actually occurred behind closed doors has never been publicly confirmed. Nevertheless, within the narrative, and quickly emerged as the central figure leading efforts to protect the monarchy from becoming entangled in an increasingly messy public dispute. What makes this stage of the story especially compelling is that tensions were allegedly rising on both sides. Critics of Meghan argued that she continued relying on royal connections while simultaneously criticizing the institution. Supporters of Meghan argued that she was being unfairly targeted and blamed for controversies beyond her control. The result was a media environment filled with competing narratives, emotional reactions, and constant speculation. Every statement generated a response. Every response generated new headlines. And every headline seemed to deepen the divide. According to many observers, this growing conflict allegedly reached a turning point when Meghan reportedly responded to criticism in ways that some commentators interpreted as direct challenges to palace figures. Supporters of the narrative claim that accusations and counter-accusations soon began dominating the conversation, transforming what might have remained a short-lived controversy into a full-scale public confrontation. Whether those claims were justified remains a matter of debate. Yet according to many royal watchers, the atmosphere had clearly changed. This was no longer simply a story about leaked information or media rumors. It was becoming a battle over credibility, reputation, and public perception. According to supporters of the narrative, Princess, and allegedly decided that silence was no longer enough. The monarchy, in her view, reportedly needed to draw clear boundaries. The institution needed protection, its reputation needed protection, and its relationship with public trust needed protection. As speculation intensified and emotions escalated, and allegedly prepared to take a far more direct role in the unfolding drama. According to many commentators, that decision would transform the controversy completely. Because what happened next was not merely a public response. It was the beginning of an alleged royal counteroffensive that would trigger accusations, legal threats, media exposés, and one of the most explosive transatlantic battles royal audiences had seen in years. According to supporters of the narrative, the situation allegedly escalated dramatically after Princess, and its initial response failed to calm the growing controversy. What had begun as criticism surrounding legal disputes and public allegations was now evolving into a direct confrontation between Meghan Markle and some of the monarchy's most respected representatives. According to many commentators, the atmosphere became increasingly hostile because neither side appeared willing to allow the public narrative to be defined entirely by the other. Every statement generated a counterstatement. Every accusation generated a response. And every response seemed to deepen the divide, separating California from Buckingham Palace. Supporters of the narrative argue that this was the moment when a manageable controversy allegedly transformed into a full-scale reputational battle. According to the story, Princess, and allegedly believed that allowing confusion to dominate public discussion posed a risk to the monarchy itself. The institution's reputation had to be protected, its credibility had to be protected, and its public standing had to be protected. Supporters of the narrative claim that this belief shaped everything that followed, rather than engaging in emotional exchanges, and reportedly favored a strategy designed to create clear separation between the monarchy and any controversy connected to former working royals. Whether such discussions actually occurred behind palace walls remains unverified. Nevertheless, within the narrative, and increasingly emerged as the central figure defending institutional authority. According to supporters of the story, Meghan allegedly responded aggressively to criticism directed toward her. Reports circulated claiming that she challenged the narrative being promoted by palace supporters and accused members of the royal family of hypocrisy. Some commentators portrayed these responses as attempts to defend herself against what she allegedly viewed as unfair treatment. Others argued that the comments risked inflaming an already volatile situation. Whatever the motivation may have been, supporters of the narrative claim the public dispute quickly became more personal than before. The focus was no longer simply on legal controversies or media criticism. Instead, attention allegedly shifted toward the credibility of the individuals involved. What made the situation especially explosive was the emergence of serious accusations. According to the narrative, claims and counterclaims began circulating at an unprecedented pace. Questions were raised regarding past decisions. Questions were raised regarding royal finances. And questions were raised regarding the conduct of individuals occupying prominent positions inside royal life. Many of these claims lacked public evidence. Many were strongly disputed, yet their mere existence intensified media interest dramatically. According to many royal observers, Princess Anne's reputation played a major role in shaping public reaction. For decades, Anne has cultivated an image associated with discipline, responsibility, and hard work. Unlike some royal figures who attract attention through interviews or public disputes, Anne is often viewed as someone who allows her record of service to speak for itself. Supporters of the narrative argue that this reputation made accusations against her particularly controversial. Critics of Meghan allegedly viewed the claims as attacks on one of the monarchy's most respected figures. Supporters of Meghan, meanwhile, argued that difficult questions should not automatically be dismissed simply because they involve senior royals. According to supporters of the narrative, palace frustration allegedly reached a critical level during this period. The controversy was dominating headlines. International media outlets were amplifying every new development, and social media discussions showed no signs of slowing down. Within the story, advisors reportedly became increasingly concerned that the situation could damage public confidence if left unchecked. As a result, supporters of the narrative claim discussions began shifting towards stronger responses, not merely public statements, but potential legal consequences. According to the story, this possibility immediately altered the tone of the conflict. Until that point, much of the battle had been fought through interviews, commentary, and public messaging. The introduction of legal implications allegedly raised the stakes considerably. Commentators began debating whether the dispute might eventually move beyond public relations and enter a formal legal arena. Whether such action was ever seriously considered remains unclear. Yet within the narrative itself, the possibility became a powerful source of suspense. What makes this stage of the story particularly significant is that public attention was now reaching extraordinary levels. People were no longer discussing isolated allegations. They were discussing the future relationship between Meghan and the monarchy itself. Could reconciliation still occur? Had trust been permanently damaged? And was the institution preparing to take unprecedented steps to protect itself? According to many commentators, these questions transformed the controversy into one of the most closely watched royal stories of the year. According to supporters of the narrative, the situation allegedly reached a turning point when Princess and prepared what many observers described as her strongest response yet. The message reportedly carried a simple implication: the monarchy would no longer tolerate accusations it considered false or damaging without consequence. Whether that interpretation was accurate remains a matter of debate. Nevertheless, within the narrative, it marked the beginning of a new phase, one involving ultimatums, legal warnings, and a dramatic escalation that would soon attract the attention of powerful media figures eager to expose what they claimed were hidden chapters from Meghan's past. According to supporters of the narrative, the conflict allegedly reached a dramatic new stage when Princess and decided that public statements alone were no longer sufficient. The controversy had already generated weeks of headlines, social media debates, and competing accusations, and according to many commentators, palace officials reportedly feared that continued escalation could further damage public confidence in the institution. Supporters of the narrative claim that and view the situation not simply as a dispute involving Meghan Markle, but as a broader challenge to the monarchy's credibility. As a result, reports began circulating that a much firmer response was being prepared behind the scenes, one designed to establish clear boundaries and discourage any further public accusations directed toward members of the royal family. According to the story, Princess and allegedly authorized the preparation of a formal warning. The message reportedly carried a simple but powerful implication. If accusations continued, if unverified claims continued circulating, and if the monarchy's reputation continued coming under attack, then stronger measures could follow. Supporters of the narrative argue that this marked a major shift in strategy. Until that point, palace responses had largely focused on distancing the institution from controversy. Now, according to the narrative, the focus was allegedly shifting toward deterrence. Whether such a warning ever existed in the form described by commentators remains publicly unverified. Nevertheless, within the narrative, the idea of a royal ultimatum immediately captured public attention. Royal watchers debated what it could mean. Media outlets analyzed every rumor connected to the story, and social media users began speculating about whether the dispute was approaching a point of no return. According to many observers, the possibility of legal consequences transformed the atmosphere entirely. What had previously been viewed as a public relations battle was now being discussed as a conflict with potentially far-reaching consequences. According to supporters of the narrative, Meghan allegedly viewed the growing pressure as evidence that powerful figures were attempting to silence criticism. Her supporters argued that she had the right to defend herself. Her critics argued that repeated accusations without evidence risked causing unnecessary harm. As these competing interpretations spread across media platforms, public opinion became increasingly polarized. Each side viewed itself as defending the truth. Each side accused the other of distortion. And every new development appeared to deepen the divide. According to many royal commentators, Princess Anne's role became especially important because of her long-standing reputation. Unlike figures who frequently engage with the media, Anne is often associated with restraint, discipline, and duty. Supporters of the narrative claim that this reputation strengthened her position during the controversy. Many observers viewed her as someone unlikely to engage in public disputes without believing the institution itself required protection. Whether that perception is fully justified remains a matter of opinion, But within the narrative, it became one of the key reasons why her alleged response attracted such attention. As speculation intensified, another development allegedly emerged. According to supporters of the narrative, influential media figures began expressing interest in the controversy. Commentators started discussing previously unexplored aspects of Meghan's past. Rumors circulated regarding documents, photographs, and historical information that some claimed could reshape public understanding of the story. Most of these claims remained unverified, yet their existence generated enormous curiosity. People wanted to know what would emerge next, and perhaps more importantly, who would reveal it. According to the narrative, this growing anticipation created a sense that the controversy was entering an entirely new phase. The focus was no longer limited to current events. Instead, attention allegedly shifted toward the past. Supporters of the story claimed that journalists, commentators, and media personalities began examining earlier chapters of Meghan's life in search of information that might support or challenge competing narratives. Whether those efforts produced meaningful discoveries remains heavily disputed. However, the expectation that new revelations could emerge kept public interest at unusually high levels. What makes this stage of the story particularly significant is the way it allegedly transformed the conflict from a personal dispute into a broader battle over public perception. Questions about credibility became central. Questions about reputation became central. And questions about who the public should believe became central. According to many commentators, these dynamics often prove more powerful than the original controversy itself. Once a story evolves into a struggle over trust and credibility, every new claim carries amplified significance. Supporters of the narrative argue that this is exactly what happened. Meanwhile, according to the story, Princess and reportedly remained focused on protecting the institution from further damage. Supporters of the narrative claim that she viewed the monarchy's long-term reputation as more important than any individual dispute. Whether that characterization is accurate remains impossible to verify. Yet within the narrative, and increasingly appeared as the figure leading the palace response while tensions continued rising across the Atlantic. According to many observers, the situation was now approaching its most explosive stage. Legal warnings, public accusations, and growing media scrutiny had already pushed the controversy to extraordinary levels. Yet supporters of the narrative argue that the biggest shock was still ahead, because as speculation surrounding the alleged ultimatum reached its peak, a well-known broadcaster was reportedly preparing to unveil what he described as a confidential dossier, one that would allegedly introduce the Dubai Yacht narrative into the controversy and trigger an entirely new media storm. According to supporters of the narrative, the controversy entered its most explosive phase when a well-known media personality allegedly stepped into the center of the storm and promised to reveal information that would completely change public perceptions of Meghan Markle. For weeks, speculation had been building. Rumors were spreading across social media. Royal commentators were debating possible outcomes. And supporters of the narrative claimed that anticipation reached extraordinary levels when reports emerged suggesting that a confidential dossier containing details about Meghan's past was about to be discussed publicly. Whether the material was authentic, complete, or accurately interpreted immediately became the subject of intense debate. Nevertheless, according to many observers, the mere suggestion that hidden information existed was enough to ignite a global media frenzy. According to the story, broadcaster Piers Morgan allegedly positioned himself at the center of the controversy by discussing what he described as documents, photographs, and historical information connected to Meghan's life before she became a member of the royal family. Supporters of the narrative claimed that the presentation was designed to challenge the public image Meghan had cultivated over the years. Critics, however, argued that many of the claims relied heavily on speculation, selective interpretation, and unverified allegations. As a result, public reaction quickly became divided. Some viewers viewed the material as revealing, others viewed it as unfair, and many simply wanted to know whether any of it could actually be proven. According to supporters of the narrative, one particular claim immediately dominated headlines. Discussions reportedly focused on allegations involving luxury yachts, wealthy social circles, and connections formed during Meghan's years before entering royal life. These allegations have circulated online for years and remain heavily disputed. No credible public evidence has conclusively established many of the more sensational claims attached to them. Yet within the narrative itself, they became the centerpiece of the controversy because they appeared to offer a dramatic alternative explanation for Meghan's rise to international prominence. What made the situation particularly powerful from a media perspective was not necessarily the evidence itself. It was the imagery, the mystery, and the unanswered questions. Supporters of the narrative claimed photographs and historical records were presented in ways that encouraged audiences to draw their own conclusions. Every image generated discussion, every allegation generated debate, and every debate generated even more media coverage. According to many commentators, this is how modern controversies often grow. Facts become intertwined with speculation. Speculation becomes intertwined with public emotion, and public emotion becomes a story of its own. According to the narrative, the so-called Dubai Yacht discussion rapidly evolved into one of the most searched and discussed topics connected to Meghan Markle. Social media users examined old photographs. Commentators revisited earlier stages of her career, and competing camps emerged almost immediately. Supporters of Meghan argued that many of the claims reflected long-standing internet rumors, lacking credible evidence. Critics argued that legitimate questions deserved further examination. The result was an information battle in which certainty became increasingly difficult to find. Meanwhile, according to supporters of the narrative, Princess and allegedly continued focusing on a very different objective. Rather than engaging directly with every allegation, rather than debating every rumor, and rather than responding to every media claim, she reportedly remained focused on protecting the institution from becoming consumed by the controversy. Within the narrative, this approach strengthened her image among supporters who viewed her as a defender of royal stability. According to many royal observers, this contrast became one of the defining features of the story. On one side stood a rapidly expanding media spectacle driven by sensational allegations, leaked material, and endless public debate. On the other stood the monarchy attempting to maintain an appearance of discipline and control. Supporters of the narrative argue that this contrast helped transform the controversy from a celebrity scandal into a larger conversation about the relationship between fame, reputation, and institutional authority. As public interest continued growing, additional claims allegedly began emerging from individuals described as former insiders. According to the narrative, commentators hinted that more revelations were still to come. Discussions expanded beyond the Dubai allegations. Questions expanded beyond Meghan's past, and attention increasingly shifted toward her years within the royal family itself. Supporters of the narrative claim that this development represented a major turning point. Because for the first time, the controversy was no longer focused primarily on events before Meghan met Prince Harry. Instead, it was allegedly beginning to focus on what happened after she entered royal life. According to many observers, this shift dramatically raised the stakes. Allegations involving historical events are one thing. Allegations involving the internal operations of the monarchy are something entirely different. As anticipation intensified and new claims continued surfacing, supporters of the narrative argued that the biggest confrontation was still ahead. Because the next phase of a story would allegedly involve testimony attributed to palace insiders, renewed scrutiny of Meghan's time as a working royal, and what some commentators described as the monarchy's final effort to permanently draw a line between itself and the controversies that continued generating headlines around the world. According to supporters of the narrative, the final chapter of the controversy allegedly began after weeks of escalating accusations, media battles, and increasingly bitter public exchanges. By this point, the dispute had grown far beyond the original allegations. What had started as criticism surrounding Meghan Markle had evolved into a larger struggle over reputation, credibility, and the monarchy's relationship with former working royals. According to many commentators, the central question was no longer whether another headline would appear. The question was whether Buckingham Palace had finally reached the point where it would permanently close the door on further engagement with the controversy. According to the narrative, attention increasingly shifted toward claims attributed to former palace insiders. Supporters of the story allege that additional accusations emerged regarding Meghan's time within the royal family. These claims reportedly focused on spending, internal disagreements, and her relationship with palace administrators. Many of the allegations remained unverified. Many were strongly disputed, and many lacked publicly available evidence. Yet within the narrative, they played an important role because they reinforced the broader image that critics were attempting to create. As a result, public debate intensified once again. According to many royal observers, what made this stage of the story particularly significant was the way it allegedly affected public perceptions of Princess Anne. Throughout decades of royal service, Anne has generally been associated with duty, discipline, and institutional loyalty. Supporters of the narrative claim that the controversy ultimately strengthened that image among many royal audiences because she was portrayed as someone willing to defend the monarchy regardless of personal criticism. Whether that portrayal accurately reflects events remains a matter of opinion, but within the narrative it became one of the defining themes of the entire story. Meanwhile, according to supporters of the narrative, Meghan allegedly found herself confronting mounting public scrutiny. Every new allegation generated discussion. Every discussion generated media coverage. And every new report appeared to keep the controversy alive. Supporters of Meghan argued that she was being subjected to unfair treatment and relentless criticism. Her critics argued that the controversy reflected the consequences of years of public conflict with the royal family. As these competing interpretations spread across social media and news platforms, the divide between both sides appeared deeper than ever. According to the narrative, Buckingham Palace eventually adopted an increasingly distant approach toward the dispute. Rather than engaging with every accusation or responding to every media claim, supporters of the story allege that palace officials focused on reinforcing institutional boundaries. The message, according to commentators, was simple. The monarchy would prioritize stability, continuity, and public service over ongoing public battles. Whether such a strategy was formally implemented remains unclear. However, within the narrative, it became symbolic of a broader effort to move beyond controversy and protect the institution from becoming permanently entangled in personal disputes. What makes the ending particularly powerful is that it shifts attention away from individual allegations and toward a larger question. What happens when personal ambition collides with institutional responsibility? What happens when media narratives become more influential than private conversations? And what happens when relationships deteriorate to the point where trust becomes difficult to rebuild? According to many commentators, these questions are what truly drive audience interest in stories involving the Sussexes and the royal family. The names may change, the controversies may change, but the underlying themes remain remarkably consistent. Family, loyalty, trust, and consequence. According to supporters of the narrative, Princess Anne ultimately emerged as a symbol of the monarchy's determination to defend its reputation. Critics may disagree with her alleged actions. Supporters may celebrate them. Yet within the story, she became the figure most closely associated with drawing a line between the institution and the controversies surrounding Meghan Markle. Whether that line will remain permanent is impossible to know. Royal history has repeatedly demonstrated that today's divisions can become tomorrow's reconciliations. Nevertheless, according to the narrative, the events described throughout this controversy represented one of the clearest examples yet of the monarchy attempting to protect its image in an era dominated by social media, celebrity culture, and constant public scrutiny. According to many observers, that may be the lasting lesson of the entire story. Not the allegations, not the rumors, and not the headlines, but the reminder that institutions survive by defining boundaries. Individuals survive by managing reputations. And both can suffer enormous consequences when conflict escalates beyond control. Whether the claims discussed throughout this narrative prove true, false, exaggerated, or somewhere in between remains a matter of continuing debate. Yet one thing is certain. The relationship between the Sussexes and the royal family continues generating fascination around the world. And stories like this demonstrate why so many people remain captivated by every new development. What do you think? Did Princess Anne take the right approach by allegedly prioritizing the monarchy's reputation above everything else? Or should greater efforts always be made to preserve family relationships despite public conflict? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest coverage of Princess and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and the evolving story of the British royal family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.